I read a small story. One guy wanted to sell his house, went to the real estate person and asked him to sell his house. After a week, again he ran to the real estate person and told, No, I don't want to sell my house. Please leave it. Drop that idea. I don't want to sell my house. The real estate man was surprised. Just 1 week ago he came desperately asking to do something, somehow to sell the house. Why are you telling now, I don't want to sell the house? Why did you change your mind? The guy said, only after reading your advertisement about my house, I understood my house is the way exactly in which I wanted. I understood the importance of my house. Only then I understood it is there exactly as I wanted. When you read the advertisements, you feel as if without that things, life will not go. Without that object, life will not move. When you read a Sky Mall magazine, you feel each and every object is basic necessity for your life. But when you get it, when it is there around you, you take things for granted. You can see in your house how many shoes lying down without even being polished. How many things lying down without even being attended. All these things shows before you wanted, you had a different personality. Once you have got it, you are a different personality. When your identity changes, your wants changes, your taste changes, your things changes. So before achieving, you have a different kind of mental setup. After getting it, you have a different kind of mental setup. Till you know who you are, the question what you want cannot be answered. Till the question what you want is not answered, whatever you achieve will be just again and again and again will take you in the same rut, same routine, but you will not feel, you will not end, you will not find the solution. You will achieve the outer comforts, but not the inner satisfaction, because you do not know whether you really wanted that comfort or not. First of all, you must have some clarity. Who am I? Then what I want. Then if you work for what you want, even in the social level, if it is a failure, you will not bother. You will have the deep satisfaction. Really, you achieved what you wanted. But if your whole life moves without even knowing what you want, at the end, it is sure you will find you have missed something. When you do not know what you want, when you do not have the courage to go behind what you want, whatever you may achieve, at the end, you will only see the deep depression of success. There are two kinds of depression. One is depression of failure. That is not so bad as you think. Depression of failure is not so bad because you will have hope to stand up and try again. There's a second kind of depression, depression of success. In that you will not even have a hope. Depression which comes because of success. By 40 to 50, you would have achieved whatever you want, the money you want, the post you want, the name you want, the status you want, the family you want, the relationships you want, but you would have missed what for you wanted all these things. You would have achieved all the means, but you would have missed the goal. What for you wanted all these things? For joy, for bliss. You would have achieved all the means, but you would have missed the goal, which is bliss. So when you face the success of depression, that's the worst depression, because when you face the success of depression, even the hope will not be there to stand up and try again. When you face the depression of failure, you will have at least hope. Yes, if I achieve success, I may not have depression. But when you face success of depression, it is much worse than depression of failure. It just shows the whole life you have lived based on a wrong philosophy. You have built castles in air, realizing or understanding that your whole life is castles in air is too much. I always tell the people, asking the question, who am I? People come and ask me, Swamiji, you tell us to ask who am I, and you tell us to meditate. Will it bring what we want? Will it get what we want? I tell them, meditation may not make your dreams reality, but it will make you understand the reality is your dream. Two things. Making your dreams as a reality is one thing. Understanding the reality is nothing but your dream is the other thing. Making your dreams into reality, you need Shakti, energy. Understanding the reality is your dream, you need Buddhi. Meditation can give you the deep Buddhi which you need to live your life. The question, who am I, can show you really what you want. What's your life? The basic questions are the ultimate questions. In the life, there is nothing more to be learned except the basic things. If you learn the basic things clearly, that is more than enough. This one question, who am I? Who am I? And who is moving in this body is more than enough to start your life, to move in your life, and to end in your life. To start, to move, to end. To create your life, to sustain your life, to transform your life. In all these three phases, this one question is more than enough to show you the path, to show you the guidance. Ramana Maharshi says in that small booklet, very beautiful booklet, who am I? I have read thousands of books, but this is the smallest book and this is the greatest book. I do not know. Always the great things are very small. Very few pages. It cannot be even called as a book. It is just a booklet. Few pages of booklet. But this few page contains the whole wisdom of humanity. Because what for we want books? Books are just to open your inner intelligence. Vivekananda says beautifully, till your inner intelligence is not awakened, no book is going to help you. Once the inner intelligence is awakened, no book is necessary. Till the inner intelligence is awakened, no book is going to help you. Once the inner intelligence is awakened, no book is necessary. Books are just to awaken your inner intelligence, awaken the Antaryami, who is your master, awaken the energy which is within you. This book, according to me, is a bookless book which can directly lead you to feel the Antaryami, which can directly open your inner book. In that he says few words. First, when you start with this question, the ultimate question, who am I? You will start feeling that you are not this body. Because if you are this body, you cannot separately see this. If you are able to see, that itself shows you are person who sees. You are the person who sees, not the seen. You are not the person who is observed. You are the person who is observing. The moment you realize you are seeing it, you understand you are not the body. The next, if you witness your thoughts, You can see your mind in a depressed mood or in a high mood. You can experience your mind objectively. The objective experience of your mind shows you are not the mind. Objective experience of your emotions, the joy or the bliss or the pain, shows you are neither emotion. You are neither body nor intellect or emotion. If you search deeply, the pure awareness, which we call Brahman, which we call God, which we call Atman, whatever names you may give, we can give 1000 names. Devotees of Shiva, they say Shiva. Devotees of Vishnu, they say Vishnu. The very word Vishnu means which fills, which penetrates the whole Jagat. Shiva means which is auspiciousness or the base energy of the whole universe. Somebody says Shiva, somebody says Vishnu, somebody says God, somebody says Brahman, whatever you may call it, the pure awareness which happens in you is what is the ultimate result. Where your questions end, there your being starts. Bhagavan says beautifully. Somebody asks, how long the question, who am I, should be asked? He says, till the question dies, ask that. There is a space, there will be a place when you will neither have answer nor have a question. You will see the very questioning mind will dissolve and disappear into the energy, into the pure awareness. Let me tell a small incident from my own life. I had a great opportunity of seeing one of the Ramana Maharshi's disciples, Annamalai Swamigal. At the age of 10, I was taken to him by my pre-monastic family. He was talking to a group of people. He was telling them, we are not the body, we are Atman. No way we are disturbed by pains and sufferings. When I heard these great words, I felt little surprised. He says we don't get pain. We are not afflicted by suffering. But when mom beats, I feel pain. How he says we don't have pain? I went back to the house. But the memory was there. What did he say? What is the truth? I took a knife and cut my thighs to see whether really we have pain or not. Still now the mark is there. There was a deep wound. Of course, I had a pain and I was immediately taken to the hospital. They did all the first aid, everything. After 3 days, I went back to that Swami and asked him, what is this? You told we don't have pain, but I went and tested it on myself. You see, the Arjuna is an intelligent guy. When Krishna said, Nainam Chindandi Sastrani Nainam Dagadi Bhavataha. The Atman is never killed, Atman is never burnt, Atman is never disturbed. Arjuna tested it on somebody else, not on himself. But I was a fool to test it on myself. I asked him, why did you teach that? I went and tested it on myself and I had a pain. What is the truth behind it? The Swami said, yes, my son, what you have done is not wrong, don't worry about it. The idea, searching, the truth, the questioning sense, or experimenting, trying to experiment with the words is perfectly right attitude. You understood in a wrong way, don't worry about that. Now, do this small meditation technique, do this small meditation. Then you will understand the truth behind my words. He told me to start search from where your thoughts are coming. He told me, whenever you are free, just sit and see from where your thoughts are originating, from where your thoughts are coming. Who am I? The same technique, he gave it in a different way. Of course, I happy or I was not convinced by this answer because I do not know anything about meditation. I was just a 10-year-old boy. But I felt something, let me at least try. Whenever I used to find time, I'll sit and play with this technique. I can't even say I used to meditate. I used to just play with this technique. That is a technique. Finally, ultimately, gave me the first glimpse of the inner self or the inner experience. Only one day suddenly, on a Buddha Purnima, maybe I was 12. When I was trying to sit and trace the root of the thoughts, or trace from where my being is racing, or who am I, suddenly something opened, something broke in my being that gave me the first glimpse of the higher consciousness. Then really I understood that we are something beyond body. We are pure awareness. We are the experience, not the experiencer or the experienced. The experiencer and the experienced, both identifications are just instinct and intellectual. If you say you are experienced, it's an instinct. If you say you are experiencer, it is intellectual. When you experience, you are nothing but experience. It's an experience. Your being is nothing but experience. When you experience, you are nothing but experience. That is the only experience which is to be experienced. This question, who am I? Very simple, basic question, but can lead you to the ultimate, final, not only the answer to the experience itself. The question, who am I, will not solve your question, it will dissolve your questioning mind itself. The who am I, it will start as a question, but it will become quest and lead you to the space where questions no more raise. The very questioning mind disappears. So, let you take this question sincerely. Let it become question you. Let your urge become urgent. Let you reach the space of eternal bliss and experience it. Let you experience the eternal bliss. Nityananda. Thank you.